Good evening and welcome to the City of Groton Mayor and Council meeting for Monday, May 16th, 2022. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Present are Mayor Keith Hedrick, Deputy Mayor Guinevere Depot, Councilor Rashad Carter, Councilor Lisa McCabe, Councilor Paul Norris, Councilor Christine Piazza, Councilor Stephen Sheffield, City Clerk Edward Jacome, and Finance Director Ron Uas.
Okay, please stand and salute the flag. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, recognitions, awards, and memorials. Anyone have anything? Okay, I have a couple of things. One, where'd she go?
She didn't be recognized apparently.
One, I wanted to thank Noemi for her efforts and in helping us get through the gap period between city clerks. And then two, I wanted to welcome Edward Jacome on board. I swore him in this morning as a city clerk, so he is official as a city clerk, and you'll see that on Facebook here in the next day or two. I also have two proclamations. One is National Public Works Week. It says, whereas public works professionals focus on the infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health and high quality of life the residents and businesses of the City of Groton expect. And whereas the Ready and Resilient National Public Works Week 2022 theme highlights the ability of public works professionals to perform regular public works duties and be ready at a moment's notice to react as first responders during natural disasters. These professionals make our community a great place to live and work. And whereas 2022 marks the 62nd annual National Public Works Week, which since 1960 has energized and educated the public on the importance of public works in our daily lives. National Public Works Week is a week to inquire, learn, and appreciate the City of Groton's public works professionals who plan, build, manage, and maintain the city's streets and sidewalks, stormwater drainage system, collect garbage and recyclable waste weekly, and whereas it's in the public interest for the residents and civic leaders in the City of Groton to gain knowledge of and to maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs, therefore be it resolved, I, Keith Hedrick, Mayor of the City of Groton, do hereby proclaim the week of May 15th to 21st, 2022 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join us in paying tribute to our public works professionals and to recognize the substantial contributions they make. Given under my hand the 16th day of May, 2022, signed Keith Hedrick, Mayor, City of Groton. I also have a proclamation for National Police Week. This is to recognize National Police Week 2022 and to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the City of Groton Police Department. Whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, more than 23,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty, including one member of the City of Groton Police Department. Whereas the names of these dedicated public service are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., and whereas 619 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 472 officers killed in 2021 and 147 officers killed in the previous years. And whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty while being honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 34th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2022. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of the National Police Week, which will be observed this year from May 11th to May 17th. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff, therefore be it resolved that the City of Groton will observe May 11th through the 17th, 2022 as National Police Week and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. Given under my hand this 16th day of May 2022, signed Keith Hedrick, Mayor, City of Groton. And we have one of our own law enforcement officers, Honor Counselor Rashad Carter. So thank you for what you do. Okay, we'll move to receipt of citizens petitions. Seeing that there's no one in the audience for citizen petitions, we will move to approval of the minutes. I'll take a motion to approve the mayor and council minutes of May 2nd, 2022.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Communications and reports. Councilor Norris.
Your Honor, I just wanted to say thank you for responding to my email regarding the no wake signs for Baker's Cove. Residents down there did ask me, so thank you very much for responding.
I do think, so there was supposed to be a meeting with the harbor master, Jeff Dezek, and Deep last week. That got moved. I think that's supposed to happen this week. Once I get additional information from that, I will forward information to you so you can get it out to the community members that were interested in the no-wake buoys and signs out there.
I also wanted to say thank you on behalf of the Jupiter Point residents. It was very noteworthy that you were down, and also Deputy Gwen Depot and myself talking about some possible CIP work that was going to happen down there over the next few years. And they truly appreciate the fact that you took the time to go down there and look at it and explain it to a resident. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor McCabe. Councilor Sheffield.
Nothing to report.
Councilor Piazza.
I just wanted to mention, maybe this should have been under recognitions, but I did want to say I'm thankful to see the police radar thing on Mitchell Street, because one of the reasons I want to say, as I was going to bring up to the Department of Transportation for the Board of Education, because I frequently come, one of my stops is from the rink over onto Mitchell Street, and it's during, most of the time during the EV traffic, and that gets blocked, and I don't get to turn, and the traffic is fast there, so I'm thankful to see that, and a lot of people have been slowing down, so thank you.
Councilor Carter.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Depot.
Thank you, Mayor. On May 6th, I attended a community meeting organized by the residents of Branford Manor to discuss some issues they have been having, the tenants there have been having in their apartments. I think the mayor also attended, and we tried our best to just hear what they had to say and give them the avenues for any of their issues. And the main thing that I want to say about that is if you are a tenant and you are having health safety, building safety, or fire safety issues and your landlord is not responding to those, there are avenues to make complaints about that. And if you need help with that, please contact the mayor's office. Not to direct
Yes.
everyone to you,
Nope,
but
absolutely.
I think part of what we ran into is that people didn't know who to contact. So that's something going forward that I would like to kind of push more, is getting people to know who to contact for those issues, because that's the main thing that we ran into, is that tenants don't know where to go or who will effectively hear their complaints. And the thing is, there are rules about fire safety, health safety, and building safety that apply to landlords, and they do not have the option to not fix them. So if you're having issues with those types of things and you don't know who to go to, or if you're not sure if it's an issue, please contact someone. So if you know the building department's number, if you feel comfortable contacting them directly, feel free to do that. But I'm sure the mayor can direct your issues to the right department or give you the resources. But there were a lot of people, and it was, I don't want to say disturbing, but it was disappointing to see how disconnected it was, and I would like to try to push to get more information to people who need it, if that makes sense. And also I just want to say that we did have that meeting down there, and if people weren't able to attend, please make sure to make your voice heard. If you have an issue, contact the mayor's office. We will add it to the list or tell you where to send, depending on what your complaint is, which department that goes to deal with those issues, because everyone deserves a safe place to live. And I think we have seen that sometimes that's not been the case. So, thank you.
City Clerk?
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay. Finance Director?
Nothing to report.
Okay. I want to expound on this, on the Bradford Manor issue and the mold issue. So we were invited down there, we went down and we talked to them and then, so I met with them, and then, actually, we met with them, and then we also met with the Senior Vice President for Related Services, and we met with the local manager, and then we met with the regional manager here last Friday and had a very frank conversation about a lot of things. Communications is part of it, the way that that management has treated residents in the past and their response and things like that. We addressed that. We also talked specifically about mold and other issues. The point that I want to get out to everybody that's out there is listening. If you are renting, no matter where you are renting, you deserve a place that is comfortable and somewhere for you to safely raise your family. You should not have to worry about, is my environment that I'm living in going to kill me, but I can't afford to be thrown out of here. Okay, and that was something that came across during my meeting with the residents. I am working very closely with Brantford, and I'm working very closely with their parent company Related to ensure that we have corrective actions in place. I have communicated some of this on the Brantford Manor Community Forum, but there's a couple things that I want to read out now. One of the questions was, for what reasons will the basements be blocked off to the tenants as they do only to mold? And it says, the basements are scheduled to be closed to residents as of July 15, 2022. This will allow management to assess where ongoing work is needed in regard to piping and other health and safety issues we discover. Though management has been repairing leaks as they arise, it has been determined that a larger project replacing the property's domestic hot water piping is necessary. Management also plans to install leak detection systems to monitor any issues that arise in the basements and crawl spaces, enabling management to take corrective measures promptly. So they have PEX piping that was used back and it was installed during the 2000 teens. And that piping was left outside, and when it's left out in the sun, that will cause that piping to get brittle. So what they've been doing is they've been replacing the piping as it breaks. Well, when it's in the basement and it breaks and it damages goods and stuff that are down there, it also makes the basement wet, and it's a good place for mold. So one of the things that they're doing is they're taking everything out of the basement, and they are going to they're going to replace all that PEX piping. They're developing a plan to do that. The other thing that they promised me is that they are going to inspect every single basement and test every single basement for mold, and then take corrective action as necessary on that. Is there a mold remediation plan in place? Yes, there's a mold remediation plan in place. It is to engage where mold is found. A contractor who specializes in mold remediation, management is already working with a such contractor they started inspecting last week, and the remaining inspections scheduled for May 2022. In addition to so when we met with the residents of Brantford Manor, I asked them to put their names and their apartments and their problems on a piece of paper. To me, that was an incredible, courageous thing that they decided to do, because there is a lack of trust, and there's not always been engagement. But with the weight of the mayor's office behind them and Ledge Light, I gave that list to Ledge Light. Ledge Light has already scheduled appointments, and we are sending our building inspector and our fire marshal along with them, not to only look at mold, but to look at any other issues that may be there. And we will address those issues unit by unit until everything is resolved and everyone is satisfied. So we do have that commitment. There was a question, one of the questions that Ledge Light asked is, how long will the work estimated to take? That's yet to be determined. This is a long-term plan, but they are starting now, and I've been reaching out to individual residents, either through email or calling them or PM, and I told them to keep me posted and keep me informed, and we will keep on this until it's complete. So I received a commitment from senior management. I believe them at this point, and should the company in Branford decide not to fulfill the promises that they made to us last Friday, then I will go and take further action either at the federal level or the state level until we get resolution on this. So I just want to make sure that the council knew what I was doing on that. Councilor Sheffield.
At what expense is there and will this repairs that need to be done, remediation or what have you, will that be taken out of the renters, or this is going to be full expense by the management?
It is the landlord's responsibility to maintain their property, and they will take on this cost and investment. If you remember, this is an investment property for the owners. The owners recognize that it is in their best interest for this to be successful. And I have that commitment from them. So, Deputy Mayor Depot.
Just to tack on to what Councilor Sheffield said, I think part of the concern that was expressed to me is increasing rents, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that their rents are controlled by the federal program, so they cannot raise rents in response to having to put in these repairs.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's what the Senior Vice President said, is that they are very strict HUD restrictions that they have to follow, and they have to be consistent across the board with everybody as part of the Fair Housing Act. Councilor Piazza.
Thank you, Mayor. I just saw, I'm assuming this was one of the major concerns, or is it the only concern? The only reason I'm asking is because I drive in there as far as busing, but I saw a new playground. Was that another safety issue or a concern as far as the playground? Because I see that being redone. Everything's been pulled out and they're redoing.
I don't know if that's part of it, but I do know that they're evaluating all aspects, right? So what happened was there was a poorly worded memorandum that was sent throughout Branford Manor that basically said, you got 30 days to get everything out of the basement or we're going to throw it away. That is not consistent with the overall philosophy of respect-based management. They then followed it up with a better worded memorandum, but still saying we need you to help us and get this out. They are trying to determine now whether or not, is there a place so they can put their stuff or not put the things, those kind of things. But basement access was an issue. The faulty piping is an issue. The mold is an issue. I mean, we received a tour of an apartment that when you walked into the bathroom, the atmosphere changed. It was heavy, and my throat started to get scratchy, similar to what it was when I went to Colonel Ledyard the one time to inspect for mold. And I have found out today from a phone call that she and her family are going to be relocated out of that apartment to somewhere somewhere either in Mystic or in Waterford. I'm not sure where, but there are a lot of issues that are going on here. But as they get more information, remediation plans, they're going to keep me informed and involved. And they committed to meeting with me quarterly at the senior level so that we could keep a pulse on this, so that this does not get dropped. Councilor Sheffield.
Do we have an estimate of how many tenants have been affected by this problem?
No. Let me say no, because I have not been given a number. I will tell you the numbers of people that showed up at the Rock that day was between 15 and 20 people. So there's a total of 442, thank you, 442 units there. And we had about 20 that came that day. But there are still people that are reaching out to me now because they're seeing that it's okay to speak. So they're letting others test the water. I think as we move forward, we're going to get more and more information to address.
Have they received threats from management for the complaints? Have there been any issues of that nature to where, stop complaining or else?
No. So let me answer it this way. No, but I got a PM this afternoon that one of the people that complained, they said, you owe us 4 months back rent. And she's getting the bank to show her this check stub so she can show that she's done that. Now, that's not, is that retaliation? Don't know yet, but I was very clear on Friday that if they do retaliate locally, I will go to the headquarters and I will get people involved there. And if I need to reach out to state and federal agencies, I will. We will not put up with retaliation. They are protected. People deserve to live safely in their own homes, whether they own that home or whether they are renting that home, whether subsidized or not. That does not matter, right? So that's where we are, and that's what we're doing about it.
I just had one more question. Is most of this in concerning the building that's specifically for the elderly and those who are handicapped, or was it just broad spread around the whole area of Branford?
I didn't get, did you get a feel?
I
It
did
was
not get the
isolated?
impression that it was isolated to a building or two or one section.
Yeah, neither
There were
did I.
people from multiple areas of Branford there at that meeting and that have spoken up, because there's a Facebook group now, and, yeah, I didn't get that impression.
No.
But that was one of my concerns, was you gave all these people 30 days, but what about disabled and elderly people? They can't be moving stuff from the basement in 30 days. That's not a possibility. So I presented the question to them. You should help them find a resolution. If you're going to close the basements, that is their prerogative, but they have to understand that some of the people that live there are not going to be able to physically do that.
Okay, all right, I'm going to move on. Committee referrals, are there any committee referrals? Okay, we'll move on. New business, Counselor Norris.
Yes, Your Honor. R-220565, therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council approve the City of Groton budget for the fiscal year 2022-2023 pursuant to the City of Groton Charter Article 6, Section 2C. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion before I turn it over to Finance Director Uhas? Okay, Ron?
So what I handed out, that was at your seat or given to you before the meeting, was just a recommendation, to change the number as far as the bottom line, that was the budget of the 20,896,634 to 19,496,634. And what that does is it removes the 1.4 million out of the highway that was, that the town council moved. They promised to fund it in a different mechanism, not going through the normal budget process. So it seemed more reasonable to remove that out, so that way we're not over budgeting our revenue for monies that we're not gonna be receiving from the town, and on the flip side, we're not keeping an expenditure that we know we're not gonna do in the budget process. So it's just a recommendation to approve the number without that 1.4 million in it.
And on that $1.4 million, we have been working with Senator Summers, and last week we sent some information to her and then to an individual that she wanted us to send a package to, and that's supposed to be added to the bond package. So I'm awaiting confirmation that we're going to receive funding from the state of the 1.4 million of our side of that, which technically is not our responsibility because it falls under the special act. But we did agree to help and do some research, so that's what we did. Councilor Sheffield.
So that'll be an appropriation from the state of a bond for the other 1.4, is that?
No, for our 1.4, and then the town council committed to funding their half
Right.
using ARPA funds,
Right, and so what would the state portion be, the other 1.4?
the other 1.4.
And that'll be from a state bond, or?
That's correct.
Okay.
Councilor Piazza.
I hate to be tedious, but could you quickly, I can't read the little color things down the first page that you gave us. Could you quickly run over those so I could just write them in? You know, the each
Oh, on
percentage.
the-
Yeah, I
I
can't
can-
read it, I'm sorry.
I'll get that to you, because
Okay, thanks.
what it is, it's just the breakdown of the
Right.
percentage for the taxes, the intergovernmental
Yeah.
revenues, and the licenses. Yeah, sorry, that prints out so small, but I can definitely get you a better copy with that.
Okay,
more
thanks, I
broken out,
appreciate
so
that.
it's-
So you were concerned about the percentages here, not the,
Correct,
okay.
correct.
All right.
Thank you.
Councilor Sheffield.
For the state bond, that wouldn't be a burden for the city taxpayer, correct?
No.
Okay.
No, and that has nothing to do with this budget.
Right.
I was just giving you additional information. I probably shouldn't have said anything now, but Ron will direct me tomorrow. Any other questions on this resolution? Deputy Mayor Depot.
Since the resolution doesn't have a number in it, do we need to make a second motion to change the number, or can we just approve it as given here?
It's pretty much for the discussion, and then it's basically approving your budget, so it's what you decided on.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, yep, so it's just approving whatever, and if there's any other changes that were done throughout, would have been, taken into account as well.
Councilor Piazza.
Thank you. Since we were speaking about Branford and the elderly and disabled, I noticed on the state of Connecticut, so the elderly and property and totally disabled exemption, does that apply to them also? To the people who live in Branford, do you know? It's just a throw-out question.
Oh, I don't, all right, hold on. Can we
That's
talk?
page 6?
Well, I know, but I want to, page
6 at the very top.
Okay, so I don't understand your question. Ask that again, please.
So does this exemption apply to those who are disabled and elderly at Branford Manor?
They would have to apply with the town in order to get that, and then what it does is then the town submits what the tax reduction is, and it gets handled that way, and then the state will reimburse. I believe it's what we have budgeted for that line is a small amount. And actually, we've removed it because it's $100 in there as far as what's budgeted for the revenue coming from the state for the totally disabled. It's just kind of been slowly going down. It's not a big number.
Any other questions on this resolution? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Just to let you know what's left, On the May 23rd, the budget must be published in the newspaper. We'll be doing that this week. And then on June the 6th is the annual budget meeting with the Freeman.
And Mayor, and we will post an updated budget on the website as well that has the new changes in it.
That is correct. Okay. Counselor McCabe.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-22-5-66. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the donation of used office furniture from Pfizer Inc. for city department use. I so move.
Second.
So there's a motion and a second. This is new to you. Pfizer a Pfizer representative came up to Joe Summers, the building inspector, and said, we have some extra furniture. Would you guys be interested in that? And Joe came to me. We talked to Ron about it and said if we decided to do that, it would be a gift and we would need to get permission from the council to do that. We've sent out an email to the department heads to see if anybody needed anything specific. What I'm not looking to do is get somebody else's yard sale stuff down in my basement. That's not what I want. If somebody needs a desk or needs a filing cabinet, the filing cabinets were the things that were popular, then we're only talking about onesie twosies. You don't have no, we don't have a specific list yet, right?
No, the only thing that I've heard about was some file cabinets
Yeah.
was kind of the things that were talked about.
That's what Joe told me. Yeah. So that's why I'm bringing this to you tonight. Okay, any other questions? Counselor Piazza?
So if it's donate, what will be happening with the office furniture? I mean,
Ask the question a different way. I don't understand your question.
well, you were saying you don't want a whole bunch of yard sale stuff coming into here.
Yeah, I'm not taking somebody else's junk. If a department head said, I have a specific need for this specific piece of furniture, that's what we're doing.
Okay,
We're not saying back the truck up and we'll take all your excess.
I see.
We're talking about specific pieces of furniture.
And Mayor, just to comment on, and it's for city use only
Yes,
as well, not,
right. And once we accept it, it becomes city property and falls under the rules of the city, which means you don't give it to somebody, and if we have to dispose of it, we would do the municipal bid that we do.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
And we have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming out.